Hello everyone. Today we're covering the deadlift. We're actually covering the trap bar deadlift. I personally like to teach people the trap bar deadlift before I take them over to either the conventional deadlift or the sumo deadlift, just because there's it's a lower risk, it's more user friendly, it won't jack up your back, and it basically teaches you the principles of the hinge in the deadlift without all that risk involved of getting it wrong. The deadlift kind of punishes you if you do it incorrectly, and the trap bar doesn't really have that. The trap bar, otherwise known as the hex bar, this is the bar that you will use if you're just beginning to deadlift. Now, it might seem at first glance like it's easy to do, and I think a lot of people think that about the deadlift as well, and I think that's the reason why they end up getting jacked up, because it might seem easy, but there's a lot that goes into it. So just go ahead and like do one rep real quick, as you would, like take it, yeah, very simple, right? Now the mistake that most people make is that when they go to grab the deadlift, they squat and they dive, squat and dive like that, and then pick it up like that, yeah, and then they do that. Don't do that, okay? There's just, I'm not gonna go into a whole spiel of why that is wrong, but it's just wrong. So when you're setting up with a deadlift, you wanna make sure that your feet, like the entirety of your foot is centered across the line. So walk a little bit back, a little bit, just a little bit. So you don't want to be too in the back and too in the front. Yeah, you don't want it, right? I mean, that's kind of a given, exactly. You kind of want to be aligned with the center. So there's usually this that you're aligned with, and there's also the knurling in the center of the trap bar. A lot of these chrome ones have the center knurling. With the trap bar deadlift, you might have to step out for this one. You can do high handle, or you can do low handle. Well, the low handle, you'd rotate it. Yeah. So could you just show like real quick? Yep. So that's low handle. It'll make it a lot more difficult and closer to the level of the height of a conventional deadlift. So yeah, cool. You can flip that over. All right, so placed at the center. Now, when you're coming down, the principle that you have to follow that you're not married to this principle. You can change a few things, and I'll show you what I mean, but you want to make sure that your shoulder, your elbow, and your knee fall in the same line. So fall down, yep, there you go. So actually in your case, you'd want to push your knee back right there. This is the principle that you want to follow. So elbow, shoulder, elbow, and knee in the same line down, and foot and hand. So she's in a straight line down. Now, with a trap bar deadlift, you can drive your knees forward a little bit more, but that just means driving your knees forward. That doesn't mean sitting back. So a common cue with the deadlift, a lot of coaches actually teach this cue. It's still a common cue. It's the drop your hips cue. Drop your hips low, like, yeah, exactly. So it's like you're sitting down in a deadlift. So when you grab it, you're squatting into it, and then what usually ends up happening is you load into your butt, so this rises first, and then you get an energy leak, and then you come up, yes. But what you want is you want to move it like in a straight, your body shouldn't be shifting, it should just come up in a straight line. So just go ahead and bring it up. There you go, it just moves in a straight line. Her body just moves in a straight line, right? There's no butt up first and then torso, none of that, just in a straight line. Okay, so shoulder, elbow, knee in the same line. You can drive your knees a little bit more forward, but that's it. The big thing with the deadlift, a lot of people overlook this, is they tend to jerk the bar, yeah, like that, and they crash. There's something called a slack in the bar. So what ends up happening is that this is the diameter of the plate. So this piece, right, the diameter of the plate, and then you have the bar feeding through it. There's actually enough space in the bar for it to move, otherwise the plates wouldn't, you'd struggle just getting them in the bar. So there's space in the bar. So when you pull the slack, you're closing the space between the bar and the plate. So just kind of show. So she's gonna close this space here, and then you might not be able to hear it, but you can actually hear a little clink. Actually, you know what? So that's the slack. That's the space between the bar and the plate closing before you move. So you kind of want to think about it like cabooses on a train. If the train were to move, it wouldn't just move and all the cabooses would crash and then it would go. All the cabooses would link up and then start moving in a straight line. So that's kind of how you want to think of your body moving with the deadlift. You want to close the gap in the slack and then move up so you're not crashing when you lift the weight. So do it one more time. So she's going to close the slack and then come up. Very good. Another thing with the deadlift is that a lot of people have this sort of feeling, thought, misconception in their head that when they bring the deadlift up, they're bringing it up with their hands. You're not actually, your hands are just hooks. What actually completes the deadlift or gets the movement to come up is when your hips travel forward. Your hips and your knees. So your hips travel forward, your knees come back, so you're standing up. You're going into hip extension, and that's what completes the deadlift, not bringing it up with your hands or shrugging. A lot of people shrug too. So if you were to come up, all she wants to do is get her hips to close that way, and that's what completes the deadlift.
Not.
Yeah. Or like if you're struggling, you start to bring it up like, yeah, exactly like that. You're not trying to do all that. All you're trying to do is complete your hips coming forward. Now, one of the more important things in the deadlift is, this is like non-negotiable. You have to breathe and brace in the deadlift. Otherwise, you're gonna jack yourself up. You need to learn how to breathe and brace into your core before you pick up the deadlift. Otherwise, a lot of the times people's back rounds like a cat, and then you end up picking up like that. And then she actually did a good job because she rounded her upper back, not her lower back. But it's usually your lower back. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to pick that up. You're gonna be okay. But usually your lower back is what rounds, and that's usually because you're not tight in your core. Another thing that you kind of want to think about the deadlift when your hips are coming forward is you're kind of pushing down. Now, I know that kind of doesn't make sense, but it's like you're stomping into the floor to bring it up. You're leg pressing into the floor to bring up the deadlift. But you really need to pair that with the breathing and bracing. So what she's going to do is she's going to breathe into her core before she picks it up, and then she's going to close the slack and then bring it up. Yes, so she has a brace in her core. Her core is strong and tight to lift up the weight. She's not just grabbing it from the floor. Now, it might seem like a lot, and usually with technique, that's kind of how it works. It's a sequence of cues that you're trying to put together in one fluid motion. This is why a lot of people struggle with lifting weights, because they don't think about it like that. They think you just pick up the thing, and I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it is as simple as that, but there's a little bit more that goes into it if you want longevity and safety. So we're gonna put that sequence together. So if you have a belt, throw your belt on. I would recommend using a belt. It doesn't matter what your entry level is as far as expertise. Get a belt, use it when it comes to the deadlift. But what she's going to do first is she's going to place her feet in the center, right? Remember, elbow, shoulder, elbow, knee in the same line. She's going to breathe into her core, pull the slack, and then press into the ground, bring her hips forward. Yep. You stand up with intent. Yep. She's also, I know this is lightweight, but even when she struggles, I've seen her struggle, she doesn't throw her head back. She just stands up. So throw your head back. A lot of people tend to do that. Yeah, they try to do that. Yeah. Don't do that. Again, it's your thinking that you have to come up to complete a deadlift. But in fact, I tell people mostly to keep their chin tucked in. Yeah. Yep. Slack. Yeah. Very good. Now, when it comes to the deadlift, especially the trap bar deadlift, you shouldn't run into any grip issues because the way the bar is built, it creates a natural hook. Now, some things that you want to look out for. If your palms are sweaty, then yes, your grip is going to be challenged. A lot of people think that that means that you have to get gloves. Gloves don't actually do a lot for you. I don't even know why they think that gloves do anything for you, because they don't help your grip. In fact, it just kind of puts more cushion between you and the bar, so now you have to hold on to the gloves and the bar at the same time. So it's not very useful. Chalk will help dry out your hand so it doesn't slide with all the sweat. And then straps are the other thing that you can use. However, when it comes to the deadlift, if you're working on your technique, don't use straps yet because you're not good at it. The mistake that people make is they want to throw on the straps right in the beginning, and what do they end up doing? They go down, they're going to put the bar, the straps, and they're so focused on getting the straps into the bar that they're rounding their back, and their setup is nowhere near where it's supposed to be, and then they end up just picking it up all sloppy. So you can use straps down the line. I've used straps before. Once you refine your technique and you know where your positioning should be, so you can be more efficient with your pull. So there's gonna be a straight line this way, a straight line with the flat back, a straight line in the femur, and it creates a triangle in this pocket. Oftentimes people either squat too deep and then there's a bend in their arm. Your arms should be long and just hooks. A lot of the times people also keep a rounded back. So remember, you want to keep that triangle, so you want a straight back. This could curve a little bit, but that's it, not your lower back. Exactly. And that should let you know that you're in a good deadlift position. When you pick it up, your butt shouldn't come up first like that and then lift up. It should, yeah, exactly. It shouldn't do that. It should all come up in a straight line like that. Once she drives her knees up, she just comes up. Do it one more time. And then she comes up. Yeah, there you go. Very good. Sometimes the trap bar deadlift can be a little finicky, loading it up or deadlifts. If you ever need to load it up, you can just grab a plate, move it over there, and then you can put all the bars in the trap bar. If you need to unload it, this is a cool little hack. You just watch it there. Okay, I'll take this one off. You take this off, make sure the collars are off, flip it over, and then you could dump everything, and your deadlift, a trap bar is free.
Have fun.